What's my toxic trait? If I say a Prem rival sign one of our signings, cause we left it late, I will call him dead. You can call that hate. Support Chelsea, then you cannot relate. Transfer window been nothing but great human trafficking bodies under our nose. Like Andrew Tay, what's my toxic trait? If I say a Prem rival sign one of our signings, cause we left it late, I will call him dead. You can call that hate. Support Chelsea, then you cannot relate. Transfer window been nothing but great human trafficking bodies under our nose. Like Andrew Hey, just a rising star. Ain't got many followers following me, but they know that the impact's large when the baseline drops and I drop these bars. 100 mil while you having the laugh, won't pay that fee even if I'm Qatar, so you keep Kane like Nigel for Raj. What? In a couple months time we can sign Harry Kane and it will be free of charge. Yo, this is the OT99 Banter Room where opinions are shared and smoke gets served. Look, we're back with another show. It's your boy Firms and I'm on my lonesome today. Today I am going to talk about Manchester United's transfer business. Manchester United have finally got the deal over the line. We got the here we go from Fabrizio Romano, and Manchester United have finally landed Mason Mount for 55 million initial pounds and 5 million in difficult add-ons, as they say. It may be us winning the Premier League, it may be us winning the Champions League, there might be a little bit in there for appearances, bonuses and all of those stuff, but Manchester United ultimately paid 55 million initial and 5 million in add-ons. And look, a lot of people will say that 55 million is a lot of money for a guy with the last year in his contract. I can't even get my words out. With 12 months left on his contract, but you know, we're in this market this day where we're slightly moving away from it even meaning anything these days. If you're on your last year of your contract, yes, it does have an impact, but I remember the days where you can just cherry pick guys from teams that are relegated, but you're hearing teams like Lavia, 50 million for him. You're hearing you just saw Madison go 40 million. You're just seeing guys, whether you're relegated or whether you're on your last year of your contract, you're seeing Kane and Levy, and I know Levy's an ultimate sort of tough negotiator, but he's wanting that in less than 100 million, I can imagine. Do you know what I mean? With Kane on his last year of his contract. You saw guys like Mbappe in the past, and I know he's world class and he's an anomaly in that sense, but do you know how much Real Madrid was willing to pay? 150 million on the last year of his contract, or was it 200? I can't remember, before that deal sort of fell by the wayside. And now we're in a situation with Mason Mount, and Manchester United got quoted huge figures before we stood our ground and held firm, because Chelsea wanted to take us for a mug. Like the whole of Europe want to take Manchester United for a mug. The Manchester United tax. And Manchester United, in order for us to reverse this, we need to stay firm in our valuations. And we can say, like, look, I remember when Ed Woodward used to be around here and he used to boast and he used to say, we've got X amount, we can spend all of this, we've got all the money in the world. Look, this is coming back to bite us. Because teams are like, you know what? Go on then. You're saying you got all that money. We're going to charge you X, Y, and Z. And you're going to have to pay that if you want our player. Look, and we've heard so many rumors about how we get treated differently from other teams. We've heard it in the past where, we'll go in for a player. They cost X much. No, someone else will go in for a player. Man United knew what the cost was. We go in and then they sort of double inflate the price. Look, this is like impact of all of the poor running of the club, what's happened in the past, and Manchester United and us fans are feeling it now, because now we're in a situation where we can't float on our money. All of a sudden now we're in, like, the debt has become even more evident. The flexibility to be able to draw funds down because of financial fair play or whatever it is becoming more evident. And now we're focusing on these things even more. Manchester United are focusing on the finances and focusing on the facts that we can't just splash money anymore, like 100 million or 80 million or 90 million or whatever it is, and bringing a player. Like, it's all changed. It's all changing. And when we get new ownership take over and, hopefully like run the club in a better fashion, Manchester United will be able to do that again and do it properly this time. But right now it's tough. Look, Mason Mount, we've got him, and do you know what my thing about with Mason Mount is? I feel like Erik ten Hag really wanted Mason Mount. He wanted a guy that is an all-rounder, a guy that's like, he loves Eriksen, don't get me wrong, he loves Eriksen and his creative abilities. Like, he loves his ability to like dictate the tempo, create chances out of nowhere. Do you know what I mean? But we all know about Eriksen, and look, he got what, 10 assists in all competitions last season. It's not bad. It's not a bad turnaround. That's probably like 1 in 3, you know, assist in a game. Like, do you know what I mean? And that's Eriksen for you. But where Manchester United are in a position where, like, we needed a lot more energy in that midfield. So with Eriksen, he's a guy that you saw him always getting substituted. And when we brought Eriksen, I don't believe we wanted to play him this many times. It's just how the window unfolded. I think the grand master plan was Frankie de Jong and then get Eriksen and then bring him off the bench. But our season didn't turn out like that. We ended up getting Casemiro, and Casemiro don't have that ball progressive type qualities or those passing qualities like Eriksen does. Yeah, we saw Casemiro this season or last season, so I think he's got a lot to his game. He can pick out a pass. He's really good like at distributing that ball, and we didn't really see, it probably wasn't as evident in Real Madrid because of who they've got in front of him, obviously, but we wanted a little bit more, and Eriksen was able to provide that. But the problem with Eriksen is he burnt out after the 78th minute, and we have to keep rotating that guy. And when you rotate him and bring someone else on like a Fred, you don't know what you're getting with him. Scott McTominay, you know, the quality drops a little bit. You know what I mean? He may bring physicality in still, but he doesn't have that sort of final killer ball quality, that awareness, that creativity that Eriksen possesses. So where Erik ten Hag is looking at the window now, is looking at this guy, 1 year left on his contract. He ticks the British quota. He's young, ticks that as well. He wants to play for Manchester United, ticks that as well. He's been playing in the Premier League already and is already proven, ticks that as well. Look, we're talking about Mason Mount here, where 2 years in a row he was nominated as Chelsea's Player of the Year. He was a guy that was nominated for Ballon d'Or in 21-22 season after winning the Champions League. Look, 1 of 5 players to be nominated for Ballon d'Or. That is how good Mason Mount was. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on Mason Mount because of the season that's just passed, where the whole Chelsea team was just awful. Like, Mason Mount could actually be a real steal here. And my thing about Mason Mount is he possesses that pressing ability, the legs. Like, he only missed 2 games in that season, 2021-22 season. 2 games. He played like 30, started like 35 games. I think he played like 40 plus games in total. He only missed 2 games, and that is reminiscent of people like Bruno Fernandes in our squad. He's reliable. Do you know what I mean? He's got the energy, someone that will give you maybe a 6.8, 7 across the board on average. And that's what we need. We need that reliability. And I was listening to someone say, like, with Mason Mount, he's not a guy that is going to win you the Premier League. I think it was actually Mark Goldbridge that was saying this. He's not a guy that will gonna win you the Premier League. He's a guy that can follow instruction and follow that well. And if you've got a guy that's fitting in a system and is following that instruction, he can be an important player for your team. And therefore, if he's an important player for your team, he can support your team in achieving its goals, whatever that may be. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like that's important. And Man United need more players like that, where you can like rely on them to do the job and do it well and perform at a very standard level. And technical ability players as well, not just someone with physicality like Scott McTominay, but with no sort of technical ability. And I think Mount possesses both of those things. And I'm going to bring up some stats to showcase what Mount's all about. But first of all, we're going to talk about his record, like I was talking about in the 21-22 season. And as you can see here, look, Mason Mount played 32 games, 11 goals and 10 assists in, and 13 goals and 16 assists in all competitions. Look, that is a remarkable turnaround and output for someone like Mason Mount. Ridiculous. Not many people are churning out these type of numbers. Like, if you look at like the combined goals, assists, you could see over 20. Look, for the assists, outside of like the Liverpool fullbacks in that season, so Trent, Robertson, maybe Jared Bourne, because I think he had a really good season that season, and Salah, obviously. There wasn't many people that was getting those type of assists that he was getting. 16 assists in all competitions. There wasn't many people in the Premier League. And if you look at it in terms of goals and assists combined, outside of Mo Salah, Son, Harry Kane, De Bruyne, and Jared Bourne and Cristiano Ronaldo, those are the guys that were above Mason Mount for combined goals and assists. Now you're looking at those names that I've quoted. Those names, look, Harry Kane, Son, back then, Salah, Look, Jared Bourne had an amazing season, obviously, but Cristiano Ronaldo, look, these are guys that are about their goals and about their assists and contributions as well. And we're talking about Mason Mount being chucked in that mold. Do you know what I mean? And we have to I just feel like it's good timing, and it's a good signing to make. I know that people may not like Mason Mount. He's not like his name doesn't capture the imagination. He's not like the guy that gets you, gets you excited, but you know what I mean, he's a really good sign, and I think that we're going to get a lot of utilization. Not to mention that the guy's versatile as well. He can play, obviously he likes to play as that number 8, number 10 role predominantly, but he can also play out wide as well, and we can utilize him really well in that sense, because buying Mason Mount is like buying 2-3 players. He's a guy that where we haven't really got that person holding down the right hand side or even the left hand side at times. Like if Rashford's not available, Garnacho's just coming through. Mount is a really good guy to bring off the bench or even start and then bring him on in certain scenarios where he can just hold down some of those gaps, like if there's injuries and stuff. So I really think like Mason Mount is a key player to be having in Manchester United's fold. So I congratulate Erik ten Hag for that. Now, if we look at Mason Mount's sort of FB report, look, Mason Mount. Now, this is a guy, as you can see here, he scores roughly on the mid 80s to roughly, I would say mid 80s or higher end of the 80s on average in terms of his like shots, assists, sort of assisted goals, etc. Like he's a guy that likes to get forward, contribute to the final end product, likes to get the goals, likes to get the assists. Like you can see here, his best attributes is sort of going forward and contributing to that attacking play. Now, if you see him as an attacking midfielder, stroke winger, he's not really a winger. Like I know I said that he can play out wide and he can hold down a little job there, but like if you wanted to do a defensive type of game against top quality sides and you wanted to fling Mason Mount on a wing, you know that it will trap back and you'll know that it will get involved in the tackles. Do you know what I mean? The blocks, interceptions and stuff like that. But in terms of his attack and prowess, like out wide, it's not really where his game is. In the midfield, that's where his game is, and then you could see it reflected in the stats. And the one thing I wanted to highlight with Mason Mount specifically is his progressive carries. Like he's a guy, when we wanted Frankie de Jong, because Frankie de Jong is someone that can take the ball. He's one of the best, if not the best, at taking the ball off the defense and carrying that ball and progressing it forward. Now Manchester United got Christian Eriksen, but he's not really good at that. He can create, he can pick a pass, but he's not a guy that is going to carry the ball from the defense from deep and progress it forward. And we can see Mason Mount ranks in the 85 percentile of progressive carries. You get me? He's also got what's the other one? Progressive carries 85 percentile, progressive passes as well 70th percentile, and then touches in an attack and penalty area is 97th percentile, which is very high, and progressive passes as well 96th percentile. Now we can see that he ranks really high in those positions. Now if I compare it to Eriksen, for example, progressive carries is 54. Do you know what I mean? So if I go back to Mount, progressive carries is 85. You see, Eriksen's progressive carries 54, so it's not really good. Successful take-ons is 18, whereas Mount's was 60 plus, I think it was. Progressive carries as well is 91, which is really good for Eriksen. He does progressive passes, should I say, which he's really good at. But then the progressive passes here is less, and I would say Mount can do the things that Eriksen can do in terms of progressive passing and creativity and creating opportunities. He can do things what Eriksen can do, but not at Eriksen's standard. Like if you can see, like I was saying here, he's at sort of like the mid-ish, highish end of 80s. And then if you look at Eriksen, he's straight 90s, 90 plus, 99, like 99% out for assists. Do you know what I mean? And then if you look at his defensive abilities, like his tackles, interception and stuff is really poor. But if you go back and look at Mount's, he ranks, like if you're comparing, it's not the greatest obviously as well, but if you look at it compared to Eriksen, his tackles is 46, his blocks is 63, and if you look at Eriksen's, it's not looking good, bruv. Like tackles is 2, so he's virtually non-existent in terms of the defensive side. And I think what Erik ten Hag is trying to do is go for a well-rounded midfielder, someone that's got the technical ability got the physicality, can press. Do you know what I mean? And I think some of Mount's greatest abilities and sort of attributes is his ability to get that ball in a half turn, progress forward, can contribute to a counter attack really well, overlaps and underlaps as well, linking in with the wide men, fullbacks is what Chelsea we've seen. He's really good at that. Do you know what I mean? And off the ball as well is really good. He follows instructions and he does that to a T with Mason. That's what Mason Mount does. And there's not many players where you can see that can defend as well and have that grit, but also go forward and contribute in that way as well. And Mason Mount, like I said, he done it back to back, 21-22. I think the season before that as well. I think he got like 9 goals and 9 assists as well. So he's a guy that will contribute a goal or assist, maybe 1 every 2 games or 1 every 3 games. And when you're looking at Manchester United, like if you're looking at his goals scored and contribute, look, Manchester United are struggling in the goal situation. Like we just ain't got no one that we can rely on outside of Rashford and maybe Bruno Fernandes next. We ain't really got no one that can support us with that goals. Manchester United was doing poor out of the top 6 in terms of our goal difference, and we really need guys that can support with that goal and assisting, and I think that Mason Mount is a good signing for that. So I'm happy that we've got him over the line. I'm happy that we stood our ground with that fee. It has probably eaten a massive amount into our budget, but I do feel like for the longevity wise, I don't think we're going to be complaining. I feel like we're going to be talking about Mason Mount saying, yeah, that was a decent signing, not world class, but that was a decent signing. And I'm happy that we got him because, like I said, his off the ball work rate is really good. So even if he's not contributing, we can depend on him off the ball wise to put in a shift. And I don't think that Manchester United has got many guys that is really good on the ball and off the ball and consistent, and that's what Mason Mount brings. Now, if we're talking about Mason Mount and how he's going to be utilized in Manchester United's team, so if I just bring up the tactical board now and show you, look, many people have had many sort of suggestions of how Mason Mount will fit into Manchester United's squad, but for me, I feel like Mason Mount will definitely fit in and is coming in to replace Eriksen. He's coming in to replace Eriksen, which is why I've put him right here. So he's going to play slightly advanced with ahead of Casemiro, and he's probably going to be occupying a lot of this area where I've put Rashford. Rashford could equally be number 9 if we don't get Rasmus Højlund. If we don't get a striker, Rashford could equally go as a number 9. But just assuming that we get Rasmus Højlund, right, I can see Mount occupying this area here, and throughout his career he's occupied this area. Like if we go into Mason Mount's if I just come off this for a second and we go into Mason Mount's heat map, we go into his heat map for his seasons all at Chelsea. Throughout his career, what you would find is that he likes to drift out onto that left, man. He really loves to drift out onto that left. Look, I'll show you now, just popping up here. Yep. So we can see here, this is his 1920, 2021, 2021, 22, 22, 23. And as you can see, in all of these years, he is around the left-hand side. Left-hand side again this year. Right-hand side predominantly in 21, 22, when obviously Chelsea had the amazing year. I think that's the Champions League winning year, I believe. And he had the best season, so he had some of his best football on, all right. But predominantly he likes to hug around that left side. He likes that left side. And the thing about Manchester United is we just got too many players that like to drift out to the left and not to the right. We bought Sancho to try and fulfill that right hand side. He's being used on the left. Do you know what I mean? And we thought Anthony is a really good buy because he's hugging that right hand side, but we want more from Anthony. But guys like Eriksen, he drifts to the left. Pogba, when we had him, was drifting to the left. We've got Garnacho, that's the left. We've got Alanga, that's best position is on the left. We've got everyone that just wants to play on the left. And Manchester United need real balance, do you know what I mean, on the left and on the right. So we become less predictable. Do you know what I mean? We need that partnership where you can have a fullback establishing that partnership with the person in front of them, just like Shaw is establishing his partnership or has established his partnership with Rashford. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like Mount can support that. Like I said, he was hugging around the right hand side. That was his best best season, 21-22, and you can see his heat map there, but predominantly he likes to drift out to the left hand side, and we really need to sort of get that balance. Do you know what I mean? If it's not through Mount, hopefully it will be through someone else, sort of like later on down in the window. We can hopefully get someone else that can help contribute to sort of us having more balance, man, and more predictability. Because if someone sort of marks us out the game on the left, we ain't got nothing. And we really need that sort of that depth and unpredictability. So if I go back to this tactical sheet, so like I was saying, Mason Mount is someone that likes to drift out to the left and link in with, I'll presume if Rashford's playing out on the left, he will have a good relationship between Rashford and Luke Shaw bombing up wide. Sometimes you will have Mount bombing up and sort of supporting Rashford, maybe Rashford dropping deep or vice versa. Mount sort of providing that overlapping or underlapping sort of run for Rashford if needed, or which allows Rashford to sort of either cut in or lay in a sort of a through ball to Mount to be able to whip it across or get into that box. But what I would assume is that what we're going to do is have a situation where we've got probably two number 8s in certain games where we'll be dominating the ball, where or two number 10s, should I say, either two number 8s or two number 10s, where we're going to be dominating, and hopefully we'll be overloading that box. Or in certain games, Mount will drop slightly deeper, like in that Eriksen role, and provide sort of that pass, because he has got a passing range on him as well, so he can knock the ball out to Anthony or knock the ball out to Rashford as well. He's good on the transition as well. Like I said, he's good on the half turn, and he can bomb forward and carry that ball forward as well, which is what we need. So a lot of the time it could be like this, but obviously that'll put a lot of pressure on Casemiro. But I do feel like with Mount, what I'm happy with Mount is that both Bruno and Mount have got legs, and they both, you can see Bruno loves to press, Mount loves to press. They both will get back as well, so that in a way hopefully it will help support Casemiro as well. And even if they're not natural like ball winners, like they're not clampers, but they will just disrupt play, and by disrupting play, do you know what I mean, it always helps to break up that counter attack as well. They're both fit, they can both get back as well as get forward really well, and they're both reliable. So I can understand the rationale as to why Erik ten Hag went with for Mason Mount. And you know what, we've got a lot more business to do, and I'm going to talk about the next potential signing that Manchester United is due to make. And do you know what, like, this came out of nowhere. This really did come out of nowhere, because Manchester United are we just ain't got no type of plan. We really ain't got a plan. Before it started, I'm moving on to the striker, by the way. We ain't got no plan. First it's like Harry Kane and Osimhen, and then we quickly realized that we haven't got the funds for them, and then we've moved on to sort of Moani and Rasmus Højlund, and then we're probably, I don't know what's going to happen, because it seems like we're getting outpriced for Rasmus as well. We're hearing that the club want somewhere like 70 million or 60-70 million pounds, maybe even 80 million pounds. And for someone like Rasmus Højlund, I'm sorry, it really is just, we're just getting taken for look, let's bring up Rasmus Højlund. Let's bring up Rasmus Højlund's stats. Look, now Rasmus Højlund is a guy, 22-23 last season. Look, in Serie A, Atalanta, played 32 games, got 9 goals, 4 assists in 32 games. Now that goal scoring ability is not prolific. It's not prolific for him. 4 assists, 9 goals. In all competitions, it reads a better picture slightly. 42 appearances, he's got 16 goals and 7 assists. It reads better. 1 in 4, so even 1 in 2, he's either maybe getting a goal or an assist if you add the assists and goals together in all competitions, but he's not prolific. And his price tag, 40, 45 million, even 50 million would have been the max. And it would have been befitting of someone like Højlund. Now, if we look at for example, if I move on to someone like, let's just say, Darwin Núñez, for example. If we talk about Darwin Núñez, now Darwin Núñez, I think, was someone that went for, was it 100 million euros to Liverpool, 100 million euros last season. Now with Darwin Núñez, he again is someone. Oh, no, that's not it. Let me stop sharing that. Let me bring up Darwin Núñez's. These ones, Darwin Núñez. This is in the 2021 season, 21-22 season. Sorry. Let's bring up his stats. Let me just get this up for you 1 second. Share. Okay, cool. This is Darwin Núñez's stats. Now, obviously, the game's changed. Manchester United and as well as other clubs are paying for potential, as well as goal scoring ability. Like now, like not even goal scoring ability, your ability now, as well as future ability. You're doing that more now than ever, paying for future ability prospects. Whereas before in the past, it'll be like, what's your ability now? You're not worth 100 million. What have you done? Nowadays, it's more emphasis on what can you become, and that is now slightly outweighing what the players actually done in his career so far. Like, all it takes is one season, and we saw that with Darwin Núñez, like in the 2021-2022 season, where he got 34 goals in all competitions. His name was talked about all over the place. Liverpool wanted him, Manchester United wanted him, but we weren't in a position at that time to get him. We went up Liverpool. You know, they paid 100 million for one season. Now, look, we've gone from this to now, what do you call it? We've gone from that to, you know, Atalanta now pricing us not too far figures for someone like Rasmus Højlund, who in my opinion has come nowhere. Is like, it's just not there. He really isn't there. And my thing is if you're not in that, should we, I guess the question is, should we be paying that type of money for Rasmus Højlund? We shouldn't be. I think it's quite clear that we shouldn't be. Now, is he someone that could get to that world-class potential? Yes. You know, he's only 20 years old, sorry. He's got the ability. I've watched a bit of Rasmus Højlund since the talk has been going on. I haven't watched many full 90 minutes, no. But I've been going back and watching a few games here and there. And what I have noticed is Rasmus Højlund, like especially some of the international games that has happened recently with Denmark, what I noticed with Rasmus, for his age, he's got a really good size. He's about over 6 foot, good, solid, strong build. You know what I mean? He's got good height. He's fast as well. Someone that's really quick for his type of style, and he's good with his feet, man. He's a guy that is like a deep line forward, so he likes to drop in and contribute to play, like sort of like a Harry Kane. And you can see where Erik ten Hag was trying to go with this. You know what I mean? He's got a guy, it's a deep line forward, and probably do that whole link up play with like Firmino did for Liverpool, like Kane is currently doing for Tottenham. But he's nowhere near that level of like creativity yet, as you can see, with 4 assists, and he's not prolific as well. So I feel like the price is like 45 million is fair, but knowing Manchester United, I just don't feel like we are going to be a team that's going to be paying that type of money. I really do feel like it's going to be probably 45 million with add-ons of like 10 million or 15 million or something along those lines. I'm gonna end up probably having to do it this still, but later on down the line, you know. But if you ask me, I really do like the look of Højlund. I really do feel like he can come good in about 2-3 seasons, where he can potentially be that guy that's getting 20 goals a season. But right about now, he's not the guy that you can depend on. He really isn't the guy that you can depend on. In my opinion, I mean, he could come and surprise me. Football, this is how it works. Like, it's a funny game. You just never know. But from what I'm seeing, it will be risky to put your eggs all in one basket and depend on Rasmus Højlund to come and lead the line for you. A 20-year-old who's never really got any experience like that, never played in a league like this, not currently starting week in, week out for Atalanta either. To be paying big fees and expecting to put all that pressure on his shoulders, playing for a club like Manchester United. You know, we paid big money for Amad Diallo, 40 million or whatever it was. Look, he came and was quickly loaned out, you know, and we just we don't want to be in a position where we're spending all that money, it doesn't work out, and then we're in another situation where we spent huge money. We ain't going to get any resale value because Manchester United just they don't care. It don't matter how much potential you've got or how young you are. You can see that with Sancho. We're going to make a loss. Not like to say you can't sell them, but we're going to make a huge loss, and we don't want that for Rasmus. We don't want to pile that pressure on him, so we really do need another forward, especially where we've got only Martial and Rashford, who's not a recognised proper centre forward anyway. Martial's never available. You need someone up top. You need someone up top, and you need a couple people up top, if you ask me. So if you ask me, man, I feel like we need 2 strikers, and I think Harry Kane's got to be the main guy. He's got to be the main guy. I mean, if it wasn't for Haaland, Harry Kane's name will be on it'll be the talking point right about now, because you've got like 30 goals or whatever it is in all competitions, mainly in the Premier League. And you just think, if he was in a better club, creating many chances and in all competitions for longer, what could he have got? What could he have got? And that's Harry Kane for you. And not only does he get those goals, but he also supports with the assists as well. But if we move on from Rasmus Højlund, and I do think like that's going to happen, I just feel like it may happen a bit late in the season. Now, hopefully it can be done sooner, but I feel like Manchester United's next target is going to be the goalkeeper situation once they sort out what's happening with David De Gea. So I know obviously like David De Gea got married, so congratulations to him over the weekend. He's coming back, and I think that some through reports that discussions are scheduled with Manchester United to figure out where his head's at, what does he want to do, and it's sad with David De Gea, because obviously I'm hearing all of these reports, as you are, that a deal was on the table, then it got pulled away, and then it was less terms were given to him, in terms of less money was given to him, and all of these things, and it's just not a good thing for someone like David De Gea to go through, to experience. Such a guy that's been serving for our club, been player of the year for our club, seasons in, season out. He's been there for 12 years. He's a legend of this club. So I think at least he deserves to be having his situation handled and managed in a proper way. And Manchester United, like what we did with our other keeper, who's the other one? I can't remember his name now. What's the other keeper? He'll come to me. But we just don't manage Valdez. Is it that? No, not Valdez. That's the Barcelona keeper. It'll come to me. We just don't manage the situations well. We really don't manage the situations well. We always end up sending someone off, and then and just not working out. And David De Gea really does deserve a good sort of departure if it's going to go like that. A nice send off without there being no bad blood. We don't want to end the chapter like that. Now, if we go into David De Gea's sort of stats, let's bring him up. Let's bring up David De Gea, man. David De Gea. So if we're looking at David De Gea's sort of no, this is Onana, sorry. Let's talk about sorry, let me bring up David De Gea. Yeah. So David De Gea is someone where we've talked about quite a lot. He's got his clean sheet clean sheet award. So he kept the most clean sheets this season. You can see about David De Gea. You can see it from his FB report that his clean sheet percentage is ranks in the 92nd percentile. Goals against as well, 75 percentile, and sort of like he's a guy that is penalty kicks. I'm surprised it's even that high, to be honest, in terms of 61 percentile. But I was expecting it to be way less than that. But he's a guy that's got obviously good shot stopping ability. Clean sheets. He knows how to keep the ball out of the net as a whole. Obviously, we've seen him have certain slip ups, certain mares and nightmares overall, but we know that some of his strongest abilities is his one-on-one shot stopping, and being able to keep a clean sheet. And that is not just go down to David De Gea, must I say. It comes down to Martinez, comes down to Varane, comes down to Luke Shaw, it comes down to Casemiro. Just the overall defensive unit has improved, which has helped David De Gea immensely. But obviously, when Manchester United didn't have these players, and when Man United was getting peppered our defense, like literally you'll just walk through our midfield, David De Gea has been there, that was standing up tall, and that's where he was getting his player of the season award. So goalkeeper, golden gloves, all of that sort of stuff for Manchester United. He was the guy that was outside of all the outfield players, he was the one that was getting sort of our player of the year awards. And it just goes to show whether our defense is shored up or not, David De Gea had a big part to play in our journey, you know, and his clean sheet percentage is reflective of that. But if you look at Onana, obviously, that we're talking about who, you know, it's been reported that we're having discussions with some of the top tier journalists, you know, in Italy. It's coming out of the our British news reporters as well, our journalists as well, that these discussions, we've got a strong interest and these discussions are due to take place and a bid is imminent. Hopefully it'll be imminent soon. I just feel like we're looking to see what happens with the David De Gea situation. And then once we've got a clear understanding of what's going on with there, then obviously we'll proceed with Dean Henderson getting shifted out to Nottingham Forest, hopefully collecting somewhere between the region of 15-20 million or so, and then using that money to help boost up our funds to be able to purchase someone like Onana. And we saw what Onana's performance was like in the Champions League final against Manchester City. Someone with such composure in a situation that was such a big and enormous occasion. It was such a big enormous occasion. You got City, who are one of the best pressers in the game. They're such coordinated, they're ruthless. You've got guys like Bernardo Silva feeling like Casemiro and Thomas Partey running at you, because they're just something that Pep drills in their minds, or it just gets them to be like, I don't care how big or small I am, I'm coming for that ball and I'm taking it. They're relentless with it. And Onana was able to weather that storm, weather the press, and just be comfortable with it. His composure was through the roof, and we can see it here in terms of his what do you call it, his passing abilities. Look, let's go down to let's see it. So his touches, he ranks in the 89th percentile of his touches. It's insane. He's like another midfielder. Like if you look at David De Gea, as you can see here, like it's 30th. David De Gea is 30th percentile in his touches. Yeah, and Andre Onana's 89th percentile in his touches. 89th percentile. He's someone, Onana, that doesn't like to launch the ball too much. You know, he just likes to do, the stats is telling me that he likes to do just short little distributions, you know, find his man, and literally just keep the ball ticking like that, instead of like going for those risky sort of launched balls, long balls, and then, you know, potentially it being 50-50 with your player and then the opposition's player to win it in the air and bring the ball down. His clean sheet percentage is actually higher than David De Gea's. No, actually, sorry, I'm not telling that. Slightly just below David De Gea's. 92 is David De Gea, 90th percentile, but you can see they're really close. They're really close out here, and that's some of the key things. But you know, with the save percentage, you know, Onana's is almost double him. It goes against as well. You can see Onana is up there as well, 85th percentile. And look, this is Onana for you. Onana's going to give you similar qualities like David De Gea. May not have better shot stopping. He may not be able to keep a clean sheet as well as David De Gea. But what Onana's going to do is provide that type of football that Erik ten Hag wants to move towards, being able to play out from the defense. Look, we saw it time and time again last season. I was talking about how poor we were playing out from that defense, and there was that big issue that was marked it all. If there was that one thing that marked everything, was that time where David De Gea passed the ball to Harry Maguire, and the ball got picked off Harry Maguire, then the opposition went on to go and score like that. Do you know what I mean? And I just feel like if you have people like Martinez with Onana, such comfortable. Luke Shaw as well, really comfortable at receiving that ball from the goalkeeper. You've got a goalkeeper that's confident to make that pass and pass it to the right player on his feet, on his head, wherever, on, you know, like running onto the ball as well. Onana's got all of that potential, and he really is going to act as another outfield player. And if you look at the likes of your Alissons, the best performing teams of recently, like your Cities and all, these guys have got goalkeepers that can do this, possess it well. Look, when Pep moved to City, got in there, he looked at Hart. Hart was a big propeller at Manchester City at that time. A big propeller. Shout out to Dave. Pep came in and said, you're out. Brought in another keeper, said you're out again. Until when he landed on Edison. And that's a big indicator of how important it is to have a top quality goalkeeper that can possess that style for Pep. And I feel like Erik ten Hag wants to move towards that as well. And I feel like getting Onana, it came out of the blue. Like I said, I mean, I was focused on maybe a goalkeeper being the last of our worries and going on to get a striker, going on to get a replacement for Casemiro. Because to be honest, looking at the season, the biggest worries that worried me was, one, not having a striker, even though Rashford done well, not having a striker that can put that ball in the net. We created so many chances. You can see that stat that came out where Bruno Fernandes was appeared on the list twice, where he most chances created for Rashford and most chances created for Anthony. Rashford obviously done his thing, but you know, you can just see that, you know, with the right striker in front of Bruno Fernandes, he'll be getting so many more assists, and we'll be getting so many more goals. And I just feel like I just didn't expect a goalkeeper to be on the agenda, you know. But that was a big thing, like a striker. And I thought like, yeah, well, I know we're still looking for a striker, but I just thought like that'll be, you know, it'll just be a striker and just a midfielder. Because another bit of worry for me watching Manchester United last season was when Casemiro's out, and because he's having to do so much defensive sort of duties now, lunging in, you know, he's having to mop up mistakes, maybe short passes that was given to him from certain players. He's getting reds, you know what I mean? He's having to overexert himself doing multiple type of roles, and we're asking more of him. He's picking up these suspensions, and when he was unavailable, you know what I mean, like it was almost like a big W, like a chair for Arsenal fans before we had to play them, and they knew that Casemiro was going to get suspended. It had a big impact on our game. Not having him in the first few games, Casemiro playing, you know, your Brentfords and all of those, and your you know what I mean, who was it again that we dropped points? Was it Brighton or West Ham or whoever it was? It was big L's. We can see the differences. It's night and day between having Casemiro and the solidity in that midfield and not having it. And I really did think that will be a priority. Mount is not that number 6. He's a good number 8, number 10, maybe play out wide, but he's not the number 6. And we ain't been linked with any number 6s, like truly linked with any number 6s. And that worries me. It really does worry me, because those are like the key positions, I would say. And I know that we're thinking about all these other positions, but if you just think back about last season, what were the key areas? A centre back went missing. Look, we had Shaw filling for that. We had Wan-Bissaka step up at right back. Do you know? We've got cover. Nobody's going to do that 6th role. Scott McTominay started off well in the first few games playing that role, and then he just fell off the cliff. And outside of that, you know, was nothing there. So I really do feel like that's a weak area, that number 6 role. Casemiro's aging, you know, he's inevitably going to get leggy, not be able to cover as much grounds or recover as good. You know, we really do need that cover. So that and a forward for me is like the 2 key areas that I really want us to see reinforced. Obviously, we've got Mount, and Mount can help towards tracking back and providing legs for Casemiro. But I really do feel like no one can cover that Casemiro role and obviously a forward. So look, Manchester United has got a lot more work to do in a transfer market, and I'm just hoping that, you know, this budget can stretch, you know, whether it be the initial payment that is the inhibitor, like, you know, the initial fee, and then paying over the rest in installments. Hopefully we can start to be creative with some of these things and actually just get sales, get player sales. Look, we've got Scott McTominay, who's Newcastle wanted. That's gone quiet. You know, he's young. Now we're hearing rumors of that, you know, he's young and we want to potentially keep him. We've got Maguire, again, who teams wanted, Tottenham being one of them. Now it's all gone quiet. Maguire talking about he potentially wants to stay, but you're not going to get any game time, so you might as well stay. You know, we've got guys like Henderson, like I said. We've got so much wood. We've got Fulham, you know, who they will look interested in Fred. Again, that's gone quiet. You know, I think we put a 20 million price tag on Fred's head. All of a sudden now that's way too much. Look, when it comes to Manchester United, it's always way too much. On this, everyone wants to just take our players for £1 million. £1 million, like Hannibal Medbury, you didn't even get £1 million for him, and these man. They don't want to pay what. Look, like I started off in the beginning of this vid, 1 year left on your contract doesn't mean anything these days. It's diminishing. That it has an impact, don't get me wrong, but it's diminishing. That you can see players still going for big money, relegated players and guys with 1 year left on their contract. And to me, if you're looking at someone like Fred, 20 million is a fair price for that guy. It really is a fair price, and he will do a massive job for Tottenham. Partnering against Paulinho, is that Paulinho? It'll be a solid high energy clamping partnership there in the middle of Fulham's midfield. So I just feel like it'll be a good signing for them. 20 million is not a big ask. 15 million max, you shouldn't go any less than that. But it just feels like we're just getting a lot of issues with Manchester United, and it's going to take years to overdo all of this stuff. You know, it really is going to take years, even with new ownership with the Qataris. I really do feel it's just going to take an age to get this reputation out the way. It could take many years to get this reputation out the way where we stand firm. And Manchester United probably gonna have to be buying to own. It's like a car, not trying to give it back in 3 years time, owning it, you know what I mean, buying it outright, because we can't sell players. So we might as well be buying players to just say, do you know what, we're keeping you. Just do a Todd Bowley, give them 8-year contracts, man. If you could still do that, and just keep them. Just keep them, because we can't make these sales. And I feel like this is more of a reason why Manchester United need to get our signings right. I don't want us to force it. I don't want us to be pressured. I'd rather us get it right than just go out and get anyone. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like and in a way, you know, it's a good thing. I'll just finish off on this. In a way, with Erik ten Hag, and I know like people are upset with, some people may be upset with the Mason Mount deal, but look, there was many midfielders like McAllister. There was many midfielders like, you know, Jude Bellingham. Many midfielders moved this season and are still continuing to move. Szoboszlai went to Liverpool, and all of these players, Erik ten Hag looked at Mason Mount and stood firm on Mason Mount, and that's an indication that his head's not just looking at the latest name, the latest trending names. Do you know what I mean? What Man United typically did in the past. Like, he sees something in a player and he wants that player for that very reason. He's not being sidetracked to all of these different things, like all these different players. Do you know what I mean? He's like Moises Caicedo's a top player, but he's not being sidetracked. And maybe he was outside of his budget as well, to be honest. Let's be honest. But he saw a player and he said, that's who I want, and he stuck with it, and he got his man. And I can only rate that because Erik ten Hag is doing him. He's seeing something which fits his style, you know, how he wants to play. And in the past, you know, I can't say that we did that. In the past, it was all about this whole Galactico thing, going for the shiny new toy without any real philosophy or playing style. And we got burnt for that. You can see we got burnt for that. So I congratulate Erik ten Hag for that, man. And hopefully we get the board, you know, this takeover gets sorted, and hopefully we, you know, get some sales, do some shrewd business, boost up that kitty, and then Manchester United can go in and bring in the players that we need to bring in. I'm just praying that there's like one good surprise, you know, a player that we didn't expect, like Casemiro last season. I hope like there's a player that we didn't expect that just comes to Manchester United, and us fans are left like, yeah, like, happy. Do you know what I mean? Rasmus Højlund, he's good, he's decent, but the price is crazy. I mean, you can get Vlahovic for that. Add on maybe 10 million more, you can get Vlahovic. Vlahovic is probably going for 70 million, or you can get him for 65 million pounds or 70 million. Do you know what I mean? You've got the Benfica guy, you know, what's his name? I'm just forgetting all these guys. The Benfica guy, Ramos. Do you know what I mean? He's more 30 in terms of his goal scoring for his team. Do you know what I mean? There's more 30 guys you can get for them, maybe like 70 odd million, and spending that on Rasmus. Even though I think in the long term, Rasmus will eventually be a better player than Costa, got a higher ceiling and more suited to the Premier League with his physicality and his way he plays. I really like that. But for now, I just feel like we're getting ripped off, man. So, you know what? It is what it is, man. But until next time, look, Manchester United, we're here. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Smash a like on that button, man. Let me know your thoughts on who you want Manchester United to sign. What striker do you want us to bring us in? Knowing our budget and where we're at with things, you know what I mean? Let me know who you want to bring in. Is it Vlahovic? Is it Ramos? Or is it Rasmus? Or is it even Moani? Let us know. But even Moani is going to be like 100 million euros anyway, so it's going to be crazy. But let me know again what six you would like to see. Let me know what defender you would like to see coming in. Let me know your thoughts, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, you know, when the breaking news comes out, we'll be here to talk about it, man. But until next time, anyway, peace.